What's up, Raza? So this is just a little video of me ranting. I did a couple videos. I just put it all together. I hope you understand. I hope you support. This is just me talking my shit about, be your own Raza that doesn't support and how divided we are, how divided this nation is, how this country is, what they're doing to not just our Raza, but to a lot of people, a lot of children, a lot of men, a lot of women. And so I just talk my shit, get shit off my chest. This is not to offend anybody. This is just the way I feel. You might think I'm wrong. I might think you're wrong. We all have different opinions, and I'm coming to understand that. And yeah, much love, respect. First off, I'm going to say, fuck ICE, fuck Trump, fuck all these volunteers and wannabe bounty hunters that they have. Fuck them all. Because this government is the biggest corruption ever. Talk about criminals and mafia when they're the fucking biggest one. Fuck them. We're not fucking going nowhere. This is our country, our city. And we're here to represent for our people. Aquí estamos luchando por ustedes. Aquí estamos. Y aquí vamos a seguir y peleando que nuestros derechos. Fuck them. Y aquí estamos con ustedes, mi gente. Por nosotros, por ustedes, por nuestros hijos. At the end of the day, I know some of these government work jobs or whatever, they're trying to do their job. But fuck them. They should stand with our people. And what I want to say is know your rights, be safe, research where you can get your information at, lawyers, everything you need to find out, attorneys, everything. Google that shit, find it, find people, everything. This is not about politics anymore. This is about humanity. There's so much division right now, and it's so heartbreaking to witness. I know we all have different opinions, but at the end of the day, families are being torn apart. And this is fucking sad. And it's not okay. It's not right. This is a little prayer I want to say. I pray for my cities. I pray for the cities, the states, the families, the children, everybody that's affected, what's happening right now with ICE and all this shit that's going on in our nation. I do pray for peace, comfort, clarity, for fear, love, hope, healing, that our Holy Spirit covers our families and our nation in this darkness, and that we can see the light today and always. Amen. So here's a little thing I want to read to you. It's by Hey Mijita on Instagram, and I think her name is Samantha. So this is not mine. This is hers, which she posted. Hey Mijita. And you could look her up on Instagram. But it says, Mika, somewhere in your story, maybe your parents or maybe your generations back, someone chose courage. They left behind everything they knew so you could have a chance to grow, to dream, to be free. That kind of strength doesn't disappear. It lives in you. Right now, so many of our people are hurting, holding their breath, just trying to stay afloat. And if that's you or someone you love, I want you to know this. You are not alone. You are seen. You are loved. We got you. We stand with you. Together cry. Together we cry. Together we fight. Together we rise. Because mijita isn't just a word. It's a prayer. It's a promise. It's your mama wrapping you around your arms when the world feels too loud. It's your abuelito's quiet pride. It's in your abuelitas bendecidas whispering every night. It's culture. It's our culture. It's cariño. It's home. Remember, there's so many ways that we can support our raza. Hit the streets, contact your elected officials, run for office, raise money, donate, volunteer, doing the work, going to the meetings, city halls, board meetings, post on social media, educate yourself, have the tough conversations, but be kind to yourself and others. What's up, mi raza? This episode is dedicated to what's happening in LA, our city, what's happening to our raza, our familia, our people. This that's going on right now, and I'm not going to sugarcoat the words. Wannabe ICE, bounty hunters, volunteers, that they said this is about immigration, about migrants, deportation, and talking about who and who doesn't belong on a land that was stolen, a land that they're claiming to be theirs. What our schools don't teach us. Our schools try to brainwash us on a history that's not real, that's not true. It took me years to educate myself, and I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get educated. I'm still reading on what the truth is of this land. I would like to say is that these are my thoughts, these are my feelings, these are my opinions, and this is the way I think. Now, it took me a long time, and I'm still working on it, to understand that we all have different opinions, we all have different minds, and I'm understanding that it is okay. As much as I want people to respect my opinions and the way I think, I need to respect everybody as well. But what's going on right now, it's not about how I think, how you think. It's about having a heart, about humanity and what's right and wrong. I thought I was fucking psycho, and I thought I was fucking cold-blooded. But that's what's happening right now to our cities, what's happening to our people, to our raza, is hurtful, and showed me that I do have a heart. I do care. I do have a passion, and I'm not psycho. And my heart pumps for my city. My heart pumps for my people. My heart pumps for my familia, my friends. And I Chicana because I'm Mexican American. And I'm proud. But I also, as much as I'm proud to be Mexican American, it hurts me to what they do to one side of my culture. And it hurts that how divided this world is, and how our people are, and how our immediate circle is, and how we are fighting against each other when we should be united and fight for what's right, and fight against the idiots that are trying to run this country. and that are taking away from our Constitution, our rights, our amendments from us poor people. And what they're doing is not right. It's not human. Dogs and animals get treated better than the way they're treating our people. And if you're Mexican American and you're not another race or some type of Latino, just remember that because somebody crossed that border that was made out of rules, I'm Mexican American. I'm proud of the American side I live. I'm proud of the Mexican side I live. But I feel more for my Mexicanos because they are the ones that are triggered and targeted the most. Now, what's happening right now, you may say they're doing it to everybody. No, that's not true. One fucker has it in for one race, and that's the race that they are targeting, is los Mexicanos. Los Mexicanos. That's who they're targeting, not no other race. Because they hate and can't stand Mexico. So that's where it's targeted at. And you may see it different and say, no, they're targeting everybody. No. Some points they were targeting certain people, Asians and whatnot. But no, the revenge and the balls that this person has is only targeting that person because his ego. It's all about ego. It's all about power. Now, if you go back to the 1700s, the 1600s, the 1800s, before this was turned into states, and do your history. Don't believe me, because I'm still learning too. But go back and watch your history. What North America used to be, and who it belonged to, and who are the people they massacred and killed and stole and raped. This was all native land. This was all belonged to the natives. And it doesn't matter that each tribe was killing each other for food and for to survive. That doesn't matter. At one point, Northern American belonged to Mexico. And why do we say Mexico? Because there was no other country that was divided in here. If you go back and look, Western, Southern North America belonged to Mexico. Yeah. Little by little, it was traded because of manpower. At the end of the day, all these states, how the borders were made, how every state became, it was all, at the end of the day, it was all about power. In the beginning, it was about trading for food, for aid. And then it was about manpower. Whoever was there decided that they were going to take power and they owned that little state. And then later on became a state. And then they put rules. Then they put laws. At the end of the day, it was all a white man that did that, though. That took away from every other person. So I'm not going to get more deep in that. But California, Southern California, LA, it was all part of Mexico at one point. And then they decided to put these borders and make these laws and stuff. And you may say, well, we need laws to keep everything in order. Yeah. They talk about criminals. They talk about cartels. They talk about mafias. But then, and at the end of the day, the government is the biggest cartel ever, the biggest corruption ever, the biggest mafia ever. So as long as there's money and they're taxing, they have no problem with it. Anything you do here, as long as you break them off, they're fucking happy and they'll allow it. Pharmacy, medical, everything is all about money at the end of the day. It's all about manpower. It's all about pride. Why do you think this fucker attacked at our city? Because the governor decided to go head and head with him and said, F you. So what did he do? Let me attack his city, for he could bow down to me and kiss my feet and say, I need your help. That's all he wanted. We all have our opinions about the protests. I had my opinions about the protests as well. I believe in peaceful protesting to get our word across. I do know that burning down our city is not the right answer. But you do have those knuckleheads. We have knuckleheads in our own families that fuck up shit. That can't keep anything nice. Can't keep our cities nice. Because just look at the game life, the cholo life. What do? Destroying your city, tagging up, fucking it up, and thinking you own the fucking street when you don't own shit. Right? But at the end of the day, this ain't about peaceful anymore. It's funny how a lot of people have opinions of protesting and destroying the city and burning down. But when your sport wins in that city, I don't hear none of you complaining that you guys are burning down the city. You guys are destroying the city. You guys are messing it up for the people. I don't hear nobody complain there because your team just won the championship, right? So if you're going to see one thing, see the other. You can't be here and not there. You know what I mean? This is just my opinion, and I'm saying it how I feel towards other people as well. I may not be right. You may think I'm wrong, and it's okay. I may think you're wrong, and it's okay. But what's happening right now, it's just for an example. People said leave politics out of sports. Okay. Why? Why do you pick and choose then? If you say leave politics out, why do you do the liberty thing then? Why do you do this and that? Why do you honor certain things? Now, for me, when I support on social media and whatnot, excuse me, I support it. When Black Lives Matter was happening, I supported it. Okay? When police brutality is happening, I support it. As much as I see wrong and wrong as well, when I know that somebody's doing wrong, for an example, I've always said this. When you know your family member, your kid, whatever, is doing wrong, and then you're on TV and saying, ay, mi hijo, no, ay, mi hijo era buen chamaco. That's when I cross the line there. Because a lot of us will know what we have and who we are as people. And yet then we cover up and say we don't know what happened. It's the same thing that everything that happens in this world. But when Black Lives Matter happened and why it started and the police brutality, I support it. I also know when there's people doing wrong, but that didn't give the right for them to lose their life. right? I supported it. When Gaza, everything that was happening, I support it. LGBTQ, I support it. But if you look at a lot of pages, a lot of things, let's just talk about social media. Because back then there wasn't social media, so you didn't know if your favorite team was supporting those things, right? Back then they didn't have mariachi night and LGBTQ night and whatever night, right? But social media. Pages will turn their page black for Black Lives Matter, which I have no problem with it because I support that. June 1st comes and they change their logos to LGBTQ, which is good because they have fought for their rights. But right now that our raza is going through this, our city of LA is going through this, our Mexicanos are going through this, no one supports, no one shows face. Let me tell you something. 2 weeks before you guys started calling out the Dodgers, I already had told that to my daughter. 2 weeks before that. About these artists, about these sports teams, the LA teams, not just Dodgers, Lakers, Raiders, Rams, Chargers, Clippers, everybody that is native of LA. And that sponsors that profit off of this shit. You got a lot of, before all these influencers came out, I already called it. They came out later on. I don't give a shit what you have to say if you didn't do it the first fucking week. Now everybody wants to come out the woodworks and say you're supporting and why you didn't do this and why you didn't do that. Because you didn't want to lose followers, because you didn't want to lose sponsorships, you didn't want to lose these people paying you. Miss Crazy put a video out trying to excuse these influencers, which some of it, what she was saying, I understand. Where she said maybe some of these influencers were scared because maybe their family could be targeted and affected. And that's true. It could be. But why do you, when it comes to other stuff, why aren't you scared to post there? Right? It's just like the sports and the celebrities and all these artists. They're scared to speak up right now. But they're not scared to speak up when they use the culture. There's a lot of these people that use the culture. I had lost. At the end of the day, all of these people are human beings, right? But a lot of these people profit with money. And what they profit on is the lower class, poorer people that support them. These people that buy their tickets. There's an artist that I don't even want to give him the knowledge here, which he's a Chicano singer, a rapper. He calls himself a Latin one. But I supported him. I met him in real life and everything. The fucker was not even born here. He crossed to come here. He has the nopal en la frente. And he has the nerve to support this other fucker up there and talk shit down on our people and not support. But it's crazy because everybody that buys his ticket is a Latina, is a Chicana. You don't see no black girl buying his ticket front row, screaming for him in the front. You don't see one white girl. You don't see one Asian girl. They're all Chicana girls, Mexicana girls, Latina girls. And the motherfucker is profiting off of that. And then the same thing with this other black artist that we even gave him the name Tío, Uncle. And he talks about, oh, you guys only see what I did here. But yet, how many followers did that fucker get by blasting Chalino? By bumping Jenny Rivera? He got a lot of followers from the Mexicanos, from the Latinos. and yet can't support us right now, can't support the city you represent, the gains that you're from. You can't represent, you can't help out, you can't speak up. Now, that's what pisses me off. But at the end of the day, they're human, right? And they're not going through this. They don't have immigrant families. And if they do, some of them don't even give a shit. You know, I know people that are immigrants themselves or have immigrant grandparents, and they don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I have family members that live the Mexican lifestyle. And right now, they don't care. Their parents were immigrants and then became citizens. And now, because they don't got to worry, they don't care. You know, I got family that want to support me, and I appreciate that. And want to feel like, and when they're talking to me and say, I feel you, I respect that. But I know they don't live that life though. They don't live like that. They're respecting me because they know I don't like that and this is what I think. But at the end of the day, their household, their spouses, their kids don't think like that. And until it happens to you, you will never understand. Until you know what it feels like for your spouse or your children or grandchildren to be taken away, to be scared and live in fear every day to survive, to make a better living for you and your family. You will never know. We'll never know how that feels. I know a lot of people that grew up living fearful to going to school, to going to work, to go to the doctors, filling out documents. People that live in fear, having ice been in their home before, taking their parents or their grandparents or their siblings. Being born here is a privilege if your parents were born here. You don't know how to live it. You don't know what it is to live in fear in that way. That your parent could be picked up at work. That you could be picked up at school. For me, I think the way I have my thinking is because I understand what's going on. I am privileged to not have to live that fear. I am blessed to not have to live that fear. But I do have and know so many people that have. Now, I've told you before that I have siblings because I have from different I'm Mexican American and I'm light-skinned. So I have a lot of different races in me, but the one that I recognize is Mexican American Chicana. And I'm light-skinned, so I'm privileged. I'm not targeted. I am grateful and thankful. But as much as I have that, I worry and I live fear. And what's going on right now, it's frustrating and sad because I have that privilege, but a lot of people I know don't have that privilege. And right now, these children don't have that privilege. And a lot of these men and women don't have that privilege. And just because we have that privilege, you shouldn't be looking the other way. You shouldn't be closed-minded and say, this is not our fight. This is not our thing to worry about. You know what I mean? This is from right and wrong. What they're doing, how they're doing it is wrong. Why they're doing it is wrong. Why are they only targeting certain people is wrong. The way they're being treated is wrong and not humanity. Like I said, animals get treated better the way they're treating people and children. And if that doesn't hit your heart, and if that doesn't open your eyes, then I think you're the cold-blooded one. Because this is not okay. And it's happening in other cities as well, in other states, not just in LA. And I have a big passion for LA because I was born and raised, I guess. But Southern California, for me, runs deep in my blood and deep in my heart. The city of LA runs deep in my blood, deep in my heart. And seeing what was happening, the cities that I was raised in hurts of what's going on. And what hurts more is the divide that we are as people, as older heads, with the younger heads, with the knuckleheads, with the setups that people are doing as well, with people that are trying to benefit on what's going on, taking their pictures and posting off so they could get more followers. At the end of the day, none of us, whatever any of us do, no one's happy. I come from two wonderful parents, and I got beautiful and wonderful bonus parents. And I have a mix of my family, of my parents, all of them, and all my siblings. And I love it. I fucking love it. I consider myself Chicana because, you know, either you're too white for Mexico or you're too Mexican for white or for America, however you want to put it. Chicano is a thing that you choose to be. There's different meanings of Chicanos. A lot of people associate it with cholos and gangs, and that's not it. It's about your race, who you are, Mexican American, how you feel. The term Chicano comes from, you know, another storyline of how they used to call us and them chicos back in TJ times and whatnot, back in the day. You just got to look up your history and figure it out what it is. But it's an identity that you choose to pick. But that doesn't mean that you hate America. It doesn't mean you hate Mexico. That's just my identity. And I'm happy and proud and blessed to have both, that I get benefits from both. Now, I'm more Mexican than my siblings, part of my siblings. I'm here today because somebody crossed that border. My ancestors. My grandma, which is my mom's mom, was here because her parent decided to cross the border. My mom's here because her grandpa or grandma crossed that border. I'm here because my great grandpa or grandma, great grandma crossed that border de Mexico to Califas. And if you're Mexican American and you feel like you're privileged because you were born here and your parents were born here because you're second generation or third, just remember, you're here because of an immigrant. We're all here because of an immigrant and because they decided to cross that river. They decided to cross that border. Back then, when it wasn't even a border. And if you really think about it, mostly everybody here is an immigrant. Because this land was native land and it belonged to the natives. And as much as we want to talk about this was part of Mexico too, it was. But we were only 1/3. All the rest of North America was native. I'm here and I know what it feels like because on one part of my siblings, I'm first generation. I got another half of siblings that are first generation. And then I got another half of siblings that are second generation. I think by what I researched, they're second generation. So we really don't think the same. And that's okay. We really don't have the same fear. And that's okay. Because their mom and dad were born here. They don't have to worry about them losing a parent. Me, on the other hand, I do. Me, on the other hand, I know what that is. Me, on the other hand, live in that scare, that fear. And feeling lost that where do I help? Where do I fit in to help? If that makes sense. And I don't even know if all of this is making sense. But even though I was first generation here, I don't know what it lives. I don't know what it is to live first generation. Because I was privileged to not have all that around. Now, I have a set of siblings that live first generation and know what it is to live in first generation. And you may say, what is that? Well, being scared of ICE coming in your home. Living in fear that your parents could get picked up. Living in fear if you put something wrong on a document at school, that you could get your parents in trouble. Living in fear when you go to the doctor's office or when your parents go to the doctor's office. First generation kids have to be the ones to translate for their parents and grandparents. Have to be the ones, not just in translating documents, but over the phone, to people, to documents, to schools, to doctors, to everything. That is living that. Changing, you're being the first one to graduate from school because your parents came over here to work or been working since they were a kid. First generation to do so much of the American dream that your parents wanted for you. That's the difference. And there's a different thing too when you guys say immigrants coming here to work. The way they work is totally different from the way we work, because we were born here and we had the silver spoon in our mouth. We're lazy asses. They have to work harder. And that's why a lot of their kids work even harder, because they see their parents work that. Because as much as we think we're doing good for our kids, we still had the silver spoon. As much as we're poor, we still had the silver spoon. Me and my husband are first generation. You know what I mean? We got one parent that was born here and one parent that was born in Mexico. We know how that feels. We know, even though we didn't, well, for me, I didn't live it. My husband, on the other hand, didn't live it as well. My husband didn't have to live that fear of ICE and all that and immigration, because his parents got married and took care of their papers and whatnot. But he lived first generation. Of Spanish being the first language in his home. Being the translated, him and his siblings had to translate for their parents and their aunts and their uncles and their grandparents. Filling out documents, talking over the phone for them. So, and we raised our kids in a Mexican environment home. I was raised more in a Chicano home. My husband was raised in Mexico, like Mexicano household. And we decided to incorporate that into our home, Chicano and Mexicano in our home for our kids. And even though my kids, I don't know if they would be second generation or third generation, I don't know. I think second generation. My daughter still had to be translator. My daughter's at a young age, 7, 8 years old, she still had to help her grandma translate, be the translator, help fill out documents, help fill out stuff in the doctor's office. Shit. To this day, they still help us fill out shit even for us, because they're smarter than us. But my daughter did have to live that. Being translated in a Spanish environment. We've always talked to our kids about that as well, for they could understand the blessings that they have being born and what other people don't. And this is not to attack anybody. This is just for everybody to try to do their homework, try to get educated, try to help, try to understand a little bit more than thinking, oh, they're just doing their jobs. It's the law. You should do things right. But then I turn around like, how many times did you do things right, the right way? How many times you broke the law? You know what I mean? You guys we all have to think. You can't talk shit down on this and do this, or you have done that, or you know what I mean? You can't. We can't. We got to do better, people. Tenemos que ser más inteligentes, más mejor, y echar ganas a tratar de aprender, leer. Right now, I am trying to read and get more educated. I'm trying to see where I can help. I don't got millions, but there's so much ways to help that don't involve money. So much we could help our people, our communities, our cities, our children. I really want to help. I really want to see what I can help. Not go to these And this is another thing. This is another thing. All of us talk about protesting and this and that. It's good to protest. It's the biggest step. But the numbers of protesting that we have, we need those numbers in those board meetings. We need that raza, those 200, 300 that are protesting. We need you in office. We need you in those community meetings, city hall meetings. Because when we do this, it's only up 5 of us, 3 of us, 6 of us. And that's all they're seeing of our people there. We need our voices to be heard in the right way. And you need to be there. We need to do this because if not, protest is the biggest step and the biggest voice we have. But the same way you make excuses to get out of work, to get out of school, to do this, that, and the third, to go protest, we need all of us to be doing that, to go to these meetings, to not make an excuse. Oh, because I got to work. I can't go to that meeting because I got to go to school. I got to go to this meeting because I got to help my grandma. No. Ponte las pilas. Tenemos que poner las pilas. I'm trying to find what organization, where I can help. And if you guys know anybody, hit me up. Let me know. Even if you can't help on foot or with money, there's other ways to help. I'm still researching and trying to find out the right people, the right things, because there are a lot of scammers out there too. So I know we got to be careful on. That's why I'm trying to find the right people, the right organizations, everything. But I need our people to put your heart in this. Because sometimes you only put one foot and you're not putting it all. I know so many people that say, Viva la raza. Viva la raza. But then, in front of me, that's what they say. But yet, they talk down on our own people. Because when they go to the store, the lady don't know Spanish. And then now you're talking shit. That's when I know that you guys are fake sometimes, because you can't be one thing in front of me and try to say, oh, let me act like this in front of her or so-and-so. But when you're mad and angry, the truth comes out. Just like they say, los borrachos and los niños dicen la verdad. When you're angry and you use foul words that you say you're changed, I lost respect for you because I know who you are already. I have people that say, oh, I know that word's wrong, I shouldn't be using it. Or I'll even correct people and say, hey, shouldn't be using that word. You shouldn't be telling that kid that or this and that. But when they're angry and mad, they use that word. And that shows me who you really are. You're not changed. You don't want to change. So sometimes I got to leave you and let you be and stop correcting you, because I see that you're not willing to change and you don't want to change. And that's what I have. I have a lot of people that say, soy Chicana, soy Azteca, soy Latina, soy Mexicana. But get mad because the lady at the store couldn't understand you because she speaks Spanish. And now you're mad because you're saying, oh, you live in this country, you need to speak the language. You get mad when people are bumping Mexicano music. You get mad because you don't know how Mexican household lives, where they got a lot of family that lives with them. They got a lot of family that are in the car. They got a lot of kids. They're making rooms because they're trying to make room for their family members. That's when It's not about what you just said. It's like you can't represent the culture and use it for your benefit when you want. It's all the time. When you still use words that offend a race, and at this point I'm not just talking about Mexicanos. I'm talking about all races, black, Asian, white, Muslim, anybody. And not everybody that's Latino speaks Spanish. Not everybody that looks Mexican speaks Spanish. Not everybody that looks Asian speaks that language. So we need to be better on judging people. And let me tell you, I'm not perfect. I have talked my shit in the past too, when I was ignorant, when I didn't know no better. And then I checked myself. I educated myself. I was seeing what was right and wrong, how I wanted to change, how I wanted to make a difference, how my kids had to check me on things I would say. And I decided I want to change. See, you have to want to change. You know, this just goes back to our people. When you use the N-word, that's a big problem for me. When my people use the N-word. And I got people in my family that would do it more on purpose. At one time, somebody told so-and-so's, don't use that word in front of her because she gets upset. And one day when I was there, they used it 100 times more just to get me bothered. And I let them. I said, okay, I see how it is. To them, I'm the wrong one. To them, I don't even know how to say it, but I said, okay, I'm not going to argue and sit here. As much as I love you, if you don't want to change, if you want to do things more on purpose, you know, sometimes I have to scold my own people, you know, and I used to scold people without explaining. Like one time, my husband said a word that we grew up saying, and we never knew. You hear your parents say it, your family say it, your kids, not kids. We were kids ourselves. Our friends, schools, everyone say words. And you repeat them. And you grew up saying them and you don't know what's wrong. And one day my kids, I don't know if it was my daughter or my son, I don't remember, both had educated me on it. And they had never looked at it that way. And one day my husband said it because we were used to saying that word when we played around, when we joked around and whatnot. And I yelled at him and told him you're not supposed to use that word. And I didn't educate on him. I didn't explain to him why. And he was just like, what? And I got mad and I was pissed off at him until later on with communication. And he, asked me. And then I was like, and he goes, you couldn't explain it to me? You couldn't tell me why? And I would have understood why we shouldn't be saying that word no more. Not that we can't, that we shouldn't be saying. And we wouldn't want to use that word. And that's when I learned, okay, now when I want to educate or I want to scold, let me explain why. It's just like a kid. When a kid's doing something wrong, explain to them why they're doing it wrong so they don't do that again and they understand that that's the reason why. Not just yell at them because they're going to do it again because they didn't know better. You know what I mean? I don't know where this all went, how scattered it is. I just needed to talk out loud. I just needed to speak out loud and know that this is not right. And it's just like the 4th the other day passed and We were not supporting it. And I loved how my household, my kids, and my husband supported me 113%. And I loved it. And as much as my other family and friends respected it and respect my beliefs, I can't stop none of them from doing anything because I got to respect them too. And that's what I'm learning. It's very hard for me. Like I told my daughter, why can't no one just be? It's not about right and wrong. It's about common sense, right? On everything. And I get pissed off and I had to stop and I had to think, okay, we're all humans. We all have different minds. We all have different ears and eyes, and we all see things different. We all hear things different. We all register things different. And it's hard for me. It's hard for me that you, when I say you, I mean the whole world, doesn't think like Motueka, doesn't have common sense like Motueka, doesn't understand like Motueka. And maybe that's what makes me unique, because I love to be unique. My real name rhymes with unique. And I guess that's why I'm who I am. And it's okay to be different. I want to be different. But it just gets to me. It makes my blood boil that just the simple common sense, no one understands. And maybe they do. But because we were raised to not talk politics, a lot of us, even though they understand me and agree with what I'm saying, but they don't want to get into that topic because they know it can end well, because that's how we were raised. We were raised to say, you don't talk politics, you don't talk religion, you don't talk money, because it doesn't end well. And it's true. There has been a lot of arguments and fight between people about money, about religion, about politics. But this that's going on right now in our world, and with the fucker that's there, the felon, the immigrant himself, the Archer baby himself, this is not about politics no more. This is something we cannot stay quiet about anymore in silence. We need to speak on it. We need to do something on it. We need to do action. This is not no more of hush hush and sweep it under the rug and, yeah, I don't want to get into that. No, let's change the subject because I don't want to get into that. It's going to hurt my brand. It's going to hurt my sponsorships. At this point, whatever I have posted and anything, if my people don't agree with me and stuff, I hope I don't lose anybody because of them, especially my people that I love. I wouldn't want to lose them, but I can't stop them either. And if this means that when we're together that we can't talk about the stuff, for we could keep our relationships healthy and going, then I'll respect it. It's just that I have learned who everybody is, everybody's character in this world. Just by social media alone, I know when people are fake. I know when people post something because they're with somebody that was affected by immigrants, or that. I know when people are just putting something just because they want to follow along. And I also know when somebody's putting something genuine, being very genuine. And I know when somebody's not posting or saying anything, they could be genuine as well. But I have learned. See, I know my family and my friends like a book before all of this. I know who's who. I know who puts what on social media, who puts what on what, who talks about what on what. I know who everybody is. But with this in general, I have to just learn that I need to respect boundaries. I need to respect people's feelings. I need to respect people's values, people's opinions. As much as I feel like I don't understand sometimes, and it's hard for me, but I want them to respect me, right? So I have to give that back and back. It has to be a 50-50 thing here. And that's what I learned with this. Okay. Like my husband and my kids told me, just because somebody didn't speak on it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't mean that they're hurting. It doesn't mean that they don't feel how you feel. They probably do. But just because they're not doing something doesn't mean that. Also, too, like my daughter said, Mom, not everybody needs to think like you. Not everybody has to agree what you want and how you are. And I had to understand that. But I don't know if this all makes sense. I'm talking to myself, Motuika. If I'm not talking to none of you, I'm hoping that I'm talking to myself, Motuika. And if it only hits you, Motuika, that is okay. But I'm going to end this now here because right now I just got really foggy, so I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what I'm talking about. This shit happens to me, so it's just part of getting old, I guess. But yeah. I hope you all understand me. I hope you all still love me. I hope you all still listen. And I want to send a big hug to all of those families and children that are affected from this. No están solos. Aquí estamos. Aquí estamos con ustedes luchando, tratando de ayudar. Aquí estamos. Much love.